Okay, hey guys, Mike the Bike here. Back for another really random camera video. For those of you that couldn't already tell, I'm a little bit of like a camera nut for absolutely no reason. Do I need this equipment? No, not at all. I'm well aware of that. But nevertheless, I have an opportunity to make a fun little lens comparison video, which I think for some people on Sony will actually matter quite a bit. Now, this video, primarily, we're going to be comparing the 24-105, which came out fairly recently. I don't know, you probably know about it already if you're watching this video and you actually know what's going on. And the other one, I'm actually filming on right now. So here is the, hang on, let's just uno momento. Here's the 24-70 2.8 G Master, super expensive. This lens new is about 3,000 Canadian. I don't think that's before tax either, but I bought it used. I'm not gonna say what I paid, but I got a very good price. And then here is the 24-105. This lens is about like 1,800 Canadian. Obviously these lenses are very expensive, but the question is which one should you actually buy, okay? So, we're gonna try to do that in today's video without being boring. I'm sure most of you guys have already lost interest. Just stay with me. Now, I should actually explain for any non-camera people, there's two major differences between these lenses. This one here, don't mind the AK, there's a video on that very soon. This one here, this is the 24-70 2.8. Notice 24 millimeters on the wide end and 70 mil on the zoom end. This lens is 24 on the wide end, 105 on the zoom. So obviously you're getting a little more zoom in on this lens. And you might be wondering, hey, wait a second, mate, how come this one zooms in more, but it's actually significantly smaller? And buddy, it's very straightforward. So basically, this lens, this number here, f4 versus f2.8. Basically, the lower the number, the more light the lens lets in. And of course, to let in more light, you need a lot more glass and like bigger glass and blah, blah, blah. So that's why this lens is bigger, but has less zoom. So the big question is, do you need to let in more light or do you want a little bit more zoom? And also this lens is sharper, by the way. I did a couple like scientific tests, but you know, I'll probably put those up just so you can see, but this lens is sharper at 2.8 versus this lens at f4, which is unusual, but I mean, it's a lot more expensive. Now, if you want to see another comparison of f4 versus 2.8, I did a nice little test here so you can see the difference with the bokeh, or however you say that. To me personally, I would definitely go with the 2.8 over the f4. The f4 is actually a really impressive lens. It's pretty sharp and it holds up quite well, but that 2.8 is really hard to beat. The photos just look better. Now, there's one other big advantage, arguably, with the 24-105. This lens has image stabilization built into the lens. You can see there. Whereas, it's kind of hilarious, this lens does not. But fair enough, because this lens is already ridiculously massive. I don't know of any 2.8 full frame zooms that have stabilization. So that's normal. Now, Sony cameras already have stabilization built into the bodies. Nevertheless, if you can get stabilization in the lens, you're gonna get a smoother shot no matter what. I'm so worried about you guys getting bored. It's like the worst part of camera videos. Like the market for this stuff is like 7. There's very few people interested. So, let me just explain something real quick. Let's just get this other one out of the pocket, and there we go. So there's the two lenses. So, if you shoot most of your stuff outdoors in a situation like this, you know, nice and pleasant and bright, do you need the 2.8? I would actually argue yes. Obviously, I guess budget plays a huge part in this because the 2.8 is a lot more, but if you had the choice and money wasn't an issue, the photos out of the 2.8 are just so much nicer and crispier, and that difference in the shallow depth of field, even the bokeh looks a lot nicer, and just in general, there's no doubt when you see photos compared to between these two, there's no question. Another aspect people talk about is like size and weight. They're like, ooh, but brother, this one is much bigger and it scares me. I'll be honest, I really, that has never been an issue. As soon as I swap to the 2.8, firstly, you feel a lot more badass with the 2.8. And yeah, I mean, I've carried this thing around town. I've carried this thing like in parks and stuff. I did not notice the difference. I personally, I have a wrist strap with my camera. I have no idea if it's one of these quick release things. Absolutely love this. So in my opinion, the weight difference is not enough to like, you know, cry about. I think it's worth it, at least for me. And of course, the big difference here with the 2.8, you probably don't have to bring any other lenses. Whereas with the f4, you're probably going to be bringing like 1 or 2 primes so that you're covered in low light. You know, there's a reason people like the 2.8. Like, it's a very standard lens in the grand scheme of things. A lot of pro photographers and wedding guys, they just bring this lens because the time to swap between primes takes longer. Anyway, you already know that. You can't be as versatile with a f4 lens as you can with a 2.8. And for me personally, there's nothing that beats that. It's a no-brainer to go for the 2.8. So I think we've covered everything. Like so difference in depth of field, difference in sharpness, it's heavier, it doesn't have image stabilization, and it's more versatile. So those are your main points. And if you're deciding between the two, that extra, whatever, 35 millimeters of zoom is not worth it to me. Voice crack, it might be, but honestly, if you want that zoom, then you should be getting like a 70 to 200. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have to realize what is the point of this lens for you as a photographer or filmmaker or whatever. And for me personally, if I were wanting something with more zoom, I would not be using a 24 to 70. Hey, actually guys, you know what? I'm gonna swap to my stabilized lens. Okay, I just switched over to the 24 to 105 f4 because this lens is stabilized, and we're gonna see if you guys can actually notice the difference. Let me just put these down. Please don't judge, okay? These lenses are very safe, very protected. I care a lot about my stuff. So, another big factor here is the difference in low light. The difference in low light for me personally is worth it. Like, a lot of people would say like, well, if it's too dark in f4, it's going to be too dark in 2.8 as well, which is fair enough, but nevertheless, it's still one stop more light. Like, it still helps. What the? Hey, let's try zooming in here, boys. Just so you guys can see, this is a live test. So we're gonna punch into 70. Here's 70 mil. Okay. Oh, the bird's gone. And then this is 105. Okay. 70, 105. So that's your difference in zoom compared to f4 and 2.8. A nice little rock pile. 70, 105. Like, bruh, nah, dude, it's not enough. Okay, we're walking around now with the 24 to 105 just so you can see the stabilization and stuff. I'm actually curious. I haven't done this test yet, so it may be like totally better. Sony cameras aren't really known to have great stabilization anyways, so I don't know, dude. This is A7 III, by the way, in case I don't think I mentioned that. Sony A7 III, good camera, very good camera. I am 100% well aware of how unprofessional these videos are. I know that, you know, a lot of people like film like their tech videos and they're like super, they have their sets and they have their very specific lighting. It's not really my style personally. With that said, I still want to deliver like some actual proper information in these videos. So I'm trying to find a balance between info and not being too robotic at the same time. Oh, damn. I forgot to mention there's like one other lens which is kind of important. The 24 to 70 f4. That lens, it's very straightforward. If you know that you need a zoom, then it's your only choice for something a little bit more affordable. But it's sucky, dude. Like, I ended up, so when I was choosing like on the early beginnings, I decided that I'd rather buy 2 or 3 prime lenses than have one f4 zoom. Like, when I bought my 24-105, I already had my primes. So like I knew that if I were doing like portraits or something, I can switch to my 85. I had 2 copies or whatever samples of the 24-70 f4, and honestly I just wasn't really happy with the sharpness. This 24-105, nope. Oh, you're shooting with it. The 24-105 is way sharper, at least in my opinion, compared to that 24-70. That could just be better quality control, because I know that that f4 like iffy, dude. Like I've heard a lot of like mixed reviews about that thing. So basically, if you can't afford the 24-105, at least in my opinion, you're better off going with primes. But once again, if you know that you need a zoom, then it's pretty straightforward. Then you have to get the 24-70 f4. Is this one worth the upgrade? In my opinion, hell yeah. It's much, yeah, I just like the sharpness. I think it's much sharper. Also, less distortion on this one. It does have some vignette stuff at 24, but if you're doing photos, it corrects it, and then in video, ooh, does it show up in video? I don't think it, ooh, that's something I don't know. Okay guys, that's gonna wrap up this video. I hope it was useful to like 7 of you, and for everybody else, I'm sorry you had to watch this. I still think I should make a second channel for this kind of stuff, just for like tech related things, but then you gotta start at 0, and that really sucks. So I don't know. I'd be curious, like, you still think I should do this all on one channel or nah? With that said, that's everything for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.
There are a lot of people who are unhappy with their chosen